So when talking about the Nutritarian diet, we're eating a nutrient-dense, plant-rich diet. You're minimizing your animal products, but we're not just saying it's about the antioxidants, it's about the nutrients. What we're also saying is it's about filling those nutrient gaps. So just to define them one more time, when we're talking about, I don't know, would you call them longevity vitamins? You're talking about filling those nutrient gaps to prolong your health span. Would you call them longevity vitamins?
No, the nutrient gaps, we're filling the nutrient gaps is one half. And then the new longevity supplements we give people are a different collection of supplements. Could be a different podcast, green tea extract, mushroom extracts, curcumin,
NAD, like you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, that science is indicated that there are certain other things we can add to our diet that also prolongs lifespan and reduces risk of cancer. And we've studied the mechanism. Cara and I reviewed those mechanisms via which it prevents this cancerous cell from replicating. That's a different podcast.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. But to answer your question, what we're looking here is to fill in the gaps of things that we're not getting in enough amounts
in our healthy diet.
Right, exactly. So on a plant-based diet, you don't absorb zinc as well. So you want to take zinc, just like we're saying we don't get DHA. So you want to take DHA, but that's filling in gaps, not added bonuses.
Right. And they can, we get DHA, we're making DHA, we're getting some zinc, but you don't get the optimal amount to thrive to 100 years old. You can thrive because people say, I'm not depressed, I don't feel bad. Yeah, but you're only 50, 60, or 70 years old. If we're going to push the envelope of human longevity and live to be 95 to 100 years old or 105 years old, that's where we have to plan for that longer life now by keeping our levels of these nutrients in the optimal range, not just adequate to survive, but optimal to thrive in our later years. That's what the science is showing. So we're looking to thrive in our later years. That's why we're doing the right nutrients now. A lot of people don't have the perspective of planning ahead if you do live that long.
Totally.
For sure, if you only live to be the average American and die at age 75 for a male and 78 for a female, then forget about this stuff.
I always say, though, health is my favorite hobby. It really is a hobby and it pays you back later in life like a million times over. So put in the work now and you get to, every day that is healthy and that my body feels good, I'm so grateful for it. But I just wanted to comment on the fact that you, Dad, and maybe Cara, you feel this way too, really don't like the term vegan diet. You don't feel that you're vegan. Can you explain that a little bit? I'm not even sure if he likes whole foods plant-based.
Dad the other day said, what does vegan mean? What does whole food plant-based mean? It could just be eating bananas all day.
Yeah, I don't like the even food, whole food, plant-based. We were going to discuss a study on this podcast that shows that some vegan groups were saying, look at this study, show that people on healthy plant-based diets had lower risk of Parkinson's, not higher risk, lower risks.
That seems weird.
That, right? And we're saying it's higher risk. Who do you believe? That's the problem with the term whole food, plant-based. In America, people use the word plant-based to mean vegan. Around the world, nutritional scientists don't consider plant-based to mean vegan. So they're considering a plant-based diet a person who's high in plants and still eating some animal products. It's called plant-based. And a healthy version of that diet is better than an unhealthy version of that diet. But it wasn't that, so it didn't show that the vegans had low risk of Parkinson's. Because people interpret that in America because they see plant-based diet, low risk of Parkinson's, think it meant a vegan diet. That's the problem with plant-based. It doesn't mean vegan. It's too ambiguous to what it means. So in whole food, plant-based, we're designing a diet with more specific recommendations to eat foods that we know will extend longevity and protect us against cancer, like mushrooms, onions, berries, green vegetables, And
I know a lot of people that used to be vegan and they said they changed because they didn't feel good. And I said, oh, well, what were you eating? And they were having pizza with vegan cheese. They were having what is it called? Those burgers. They had those plant-based burgers.
Impossible.
Or something like that. They're fried and
I don't know.
Yeah, and they're eating French fries and that's all vegan. I'm like, no wonder you didn't feel good because you went from eating, maybe more whole foods to more processed foods.
And then this is where people transition. And I feel like the world is really obsessed right now with this high protein diet. So they're eating vegetables, fruit, beans, nuts, and seeds, all good. We love all of that. But then meat, a huge amount, maybe 20, 30, 40%. So that's where they feel better because it's great, you're eating whole foods, it's better, but it's not optimal. And we always come back to that word optimal. But the study that really shocked me, which kind of is something to keep in mind, is that Netflix twin study, the study about comparing two multiple sets. I think there was 22 sets of identical twins. One was completely vegan and they called it vegan. One was omnivore and they both ate healthy diets. So one omnivore, healthy diet, whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans, vegetables, fruits, one vegan. And who lived longer was the vegan. We're showing not lived longer because they're still young.
The markers, the health markers.
The health markers, right. Was that the vegan diet had a better health marker, which I found really interesting. So it shows that, you really do want to reduce your meat intake and supplement smartly. Really, everything
Absolutely.
that you're
You know, we
saying.
can, instead of a twin study, we could do a study with you and Cara, a sister study.
Call the vegan one.
One of you could eat unhealthy, one of you could eat healthy. We can see what happens.
Sister, there's so much love in this podcast.
We do feel
Jenna
like
calls
twins,
the diet
though.
that's going to make her live longer.
Hey, everyone should eat it. Everyone eat it with me. I'm not, it doesn't have to just be me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing this stuff. And I feel like every time I talk to you guys, it really do like take that DHA dropper. I give it a squeeze. It really is good to be reminded over and over again about the things we could do to change our health outcomes.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. We're increasing our health outcomes every single day. I found out my omega index was
Every
low.
day.
So I'm taking a lot of DHA right now and I'm increasing it.
We love it.
Yeah.
Give me those droppers.